Hello and welcome to the Player Spotlight. I'm Tyler Rowland, and this is going to be the audio edition of our show, and I'm excited to open this up. The first episode that we've done of this, the first of many, and I couldn't be more proud of the two guests that I'm having on today. Seniors at Ashland, I have Nate Freize and Asher Adkins, and guys, it's so good to be here with you all first off. And starting with you, Nate, let's describe what it feels like just now that you're looking at everything in retrospect. Just describe what this journey has been like for you.
Man, it's been crazy. Coming in as a freshman, practicing every day with that 33-0 team, that was really special. That was something to behold every day in practice. I mean, seeing those guys play and having to play against them was definitely it wasn't easy at times, but we made it through, and I think I'm grateful for it now because I think it made me a better ball player. And then for the next coming years, playing in practice with the guys that I played with, and then eventually going through my injury where I didn't play a whole season. I think it definitely just made me appreciate the game more, and I think it made me a better overall player. Looking back, winning 5 straight region titles is really something special, and beating some of the teams that we beat over the course of the last 5 years that Asher and I have played. It's nothing shy of something I'm very, very grateful for. And and the different coaches that have came through and that I've had coach me, and things that I've learned off of those guys. It's not just stuff that I think will help me on the basketball floor. It will help me in the game of life as well. So it's definitely been a ride, and it's one that I'm very thankful for.
Mm-hmm. And Asher, what are your thoughts looking back on everything?
Man, the first thing that just comes to mind is how much God has blessed me throughout this whole journey. Dating back 5 years ago when I was a freshman on the 33-0 team, it was just a remarkable time, just being able to learn under those guys and be a part of that team who I think would have went all the way and won the state championship. But great locker room guys, Justin Bradley, Cole Villers, Ethan Hudson, all those guys, Nolan Phillips, all those guys, and even our managers back then, I love them too. They're gone now, but we all experienced different things like Nate did. Nate had his injury, and it was difficult for him, and there were definitely ups and downs in my journey, and I'm just thankful for it. I really think just that God had a plan for me, and it worked out the way it was supposed to work out, and winning 5 region championships. That's something that not many people do. So I'm just definitely thankful for that, and got to give all the glory to God for that. So
Yes, and you mentioned the regional championships, and talk about, starting with you, Nate, what it feels like when the last time this was done. I mean, you guys did. I mean, the 76 through 80 teams at Ashland under Coach Paul Patterson, and they didn't achieve 6 in a row. I mean, and before that, the last time you could find that a team did this was Clark County when they were in the 16th region from 1946 to 1952. They would win the state championship in 1951. And how does it feel just to have been a part of something that, once in a generation, and I feel like I'm being generous saying that.
Man, it's really special. I think throughout the last 5 years, I really hadn't realized how big of a deal it really was. And I mean, even after we won this year, and that marked our 6th in a row, I really don't think it still had set in, but now that the season's over and, I've had time to just kind of think about it and look back on it, it's really, really, really crazy just to have been a part of it. very, very, very few people, like Asher said, experience, that much success in their high school career. And I gotta give glory to God as well. I mean, without him, none of this would have been possible. And I mean, to never lose at, Moorhead, a place where, some teams, go and they think, if we can win one game, that'll be great. At Ashland, that was never a part of our culture. Our culture was, we're going to win because that's what we do. And I think we kind of just gave ourselves that mindset of like, we know what to do to win. We've done it once, so why not just keep doing it? And I think that that's what definitely drove us to, continue winning. And hopefully this stretch of success can continue into next year. And I hope those guys can go get their 7th in a row.
Yeah. What about you, Asher?
Yeah, it's just like Nate said, it really hasn't hit me yet as far as like, wow, like that's actually crazy. Like not really many people, because I mean, to be honest, like when you win it all of your years through high school, it's kind of just like Nate said, the culture. It's just like, we're just going to win this thing. And like, it's great. We celebrate and then we go try and get a few wins at Rupp. So honestly, it really hasn't set in on how like really big of a deal that is, but I know that it is a big deal, and people around me are telling me it's a big deal. So I'm like, I guess it is a big deal. So it's pretty sweet, but really, there's a lot of things that play into that. A lot of uncomfortable situations that not many people are willing to be in. When you look at our strength of schedule, who we're going to play, if you look at our schedule before the season, you'd have thought our coach was crazy. But that's just, I mean, like, that's just how it is at Ashland, honestly. Having the number 1 team in the state, ranked in the top 25 in the country for our senior night, that's honestly unheard of, to come into our place and play on senior night. So, a lot of things, a lot of people want to say, hey, I want to win 6 region championships in a row. Let's do that. Well, are you willing to have those tough conversations with your players? Are you willing to, might not have the prettiest record compared to teams in your area? Are you willing to work every single day in practice to get better and to compete against your teammates? Things like that. There's a lot of building blocks when it comes to being that successful. And I'm just thankful for the guys around me, my past teammates, what great people that I've been around, coaches that I've been around to where all we know is success. And I'm really just honored to, have been in those people's lives and them be in my life to not only what Nate said, not only to help me out on the court, but help me out in the game of life.
Yeah, and Nate, you mentioned, of course, and Ashley, you mentioned your injury, Nate. I remember that summer I was coming in, and it was 2021, and you guys had a couple scrimmages at the middle school. You played outstanding. You had 21 points in that game, and I mean, you looked great.
I don't even remember that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you played outstanding, and yeah, it wasn't long afterward, and that was against the varsity team too. Colgrove they were pretty thin that night. They had a lot of guys out doing stuff for football, but
you're right. I did go crazy against Colgrove. I forgot about that actually.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch because you guys were down much of the game and came back, fell short at the end, but you looked so good out there, and I thought, wow, I can't wait to see this guy this year. And then the foot injury happened, and talk about what went through your head, and just not just the physical, but the mental battles that presented over the next year.
Like you talked about, that summer, I felt like I was really starting to kind of grow into my role, and I felt like I was starting to pick up on, what I needed to be for our team. Me and Coach Mays had conversations about, I don't need to be a guy that goes out and scores, 15 points a game because we got, Colin Porter, Cole Villers, Ethan Sellers, they're going to do that. And, we just kind of talked about what my role would be. And I felt like I was starting to kind of buy into that. I felt like I was starting to get my confidence and just myself as a player. Asher and I were playing AAU as well. And, that was really building my confidence and his as well. I know we've talked about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting really pumped. I was getting really excited. And then about halfway through AAU season, my ankle just started like kind of flaring up and hurting. And I thought they told me it was just tendonitis at the time. And,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I was coming into a season where, I could really have a breakout year. And I just didn't want to stop playing because I thought if I took a rest, other people are going to get ahead of me. And, if that happens, then I'm done. I'm not going to play as much as I want. Because that's just the type of person I am. I don't want other people to get ahead of me. I want to grind it out every day and, just do the best I can. And then I think I got an MRI sometime. It was like early November. The results came back and they told me I was going to be out 4 weeks because it was just super inflamed, whatnot. And my parents weren't totally convinced that it was just tendonitis, so we went and got a second opinion at UK, and they did I think they did a CT scan of it, and it came back that I'd broken my navicular bone, and I was just like crushed. And the doctor just straight up told me, he was like, it's either months and months of rehab, and maybe it gets better, or we just do surgery. You miss the whole season, and we just knock it out then. And man, my heart just sunk. Like I didn't know what to do because I was just like, man, I'm going to be, non-weight bearing. I didn't walk for 4 months and it was scary. I'm a 16-year-old and I'm having to get surgery. I'd never had anything done that serious before. Just kind of freaked me out. And thankfully surgery went well. Everything went great. And just, laying around, I had dark times. It was tough, just laying in bed all day or doing whatever and, not being around the guys as much. It was definitely tough, just mentally. I know Asher came over, probably not even like 2 days after I had surgery, which definitely, helped. It made me feel a lot better just, seeing a friend and being able to talk to somebody. And I thank him a lot for that. But, yeah, it was rough. I think that also definitely helped me grow into, the person I am today. It made me just grateful for the little things. There was times my freshman, sophomore year I didn't want to show up to a practice because, I was just tired. And this whole injury thing happens, man, and I'm like, there's nothing more I wanted to do than be on the basketball floor. And after, going through that, I got back, I think, late March, early April, and, I was back moving. I was doing good, and just finally playing again, it healed me, and it definitely, it turned me into, more of a grateful person, and I was just thankful for every day that I could go and practice. And I think a lot of younger guys now, they don't really understand that yet. But, I think it comes with age, and it's something that, I had to learn the hard way. But I'm just I'm thankful that it happened to me. I'm not happy about it, but I'm thankful that it happened to me because I think that it definitely changed me for the better and made me a better person overall.
Wow, nicely said. And after for you, what was one of your big obstacles that you felt like you had to overcome as a player?
Well, I'm sure you and about a million other people have heard about, the phone call, the whole thing where, my name was mentioned. But honestly, going through that, it was difficult because I really am a person who, I really thrive around positivity, you know what I'm saying? So, just I felt like it was just like a negative bubble cloud hanging over me, you know what I'm saying? And I really didn't like that. And, trying to stay positive through that and it's really hard to put into words. You start to have a lot of doubts about yourself, about your game. And overcoming that was definitely just a mental struggle that I had to get through. And some days were better than others, you know what I'm saying? But my junior year was tough. Just because I had a lot of opinions. A lot of people had a lot of opinions about me, and I was trying to figure out if they were true or not, or like I said, internal struggles. But I'm thankful that things happen the way they happen, because now I probably wouldn't have been playing football, and I'm going to college to play football at center. So God works things out. My youth pastor, Smooth Green, he was a principal at Ashland. We had talked a lot, and after football practice, I was busting my butt to try and get the Wednesday night service, and he kept saying this thing, and he said that God sees that you're doing these things, and he's going to honor that. And so throughout those times, I was trying to keep that in my head, and the fact that my Christian values, I always think that God has a plan for me. So God definitely had a plan for me, and he worked it out the way that he saw fit. And I had a amazing senior year. Junior year was, like I said, was kind of a struggle. Trying to just headspace, you know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, we were still successful, and I was trying to do everything I could for my team. But as far as personal performance, it wasn't one of my best years, you know what I'm saying? But senior year came along, and I kind of got out of that little funk that I was in, and I didn't start right away, but I found a gym and I kept working, and I had an opportunity, and I took that, and I played a few games, the best games I had ever played, and so I ended up taking the starting role from then on, and staying in the gym and keeping the main thing and getting better and focusing on how I can help this team win. And I was able to end up on the all-tournament team with the region championship. So God really blessed me in that way, and making it a sweet ending, and with a sure future on going to play football at Center College. So I'm thankful for the way that things happened, and if anybody else is going through struggles, God has a plan for you. So just it's going to be hard at times. We just got to trust in that plan, and
it'll turn out for the better.
And Nate, talk a little bit about that and just your journey with football and how you ended up getting into it.
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that after I, just answered the whole question about my injury.
So my injury was actually what kind of led me to wanting to play football. When I was laying around all day, I was just kind of, I was thinking, maybe I'm just tired of basketball and I just need something different, because that's what they told me my injury was. They said it was overuse. I just played too much, and I just I wanted something new. So Asher and I actually both talked during that season, and we're just kind of like, hey, why not try football? And it was just one of those things. It was like, all right, if you do it, I'll do it. So, ended up doing it, and it was great. It was rough kind of starting out, because, it's a totally different thing than basketball. I don't think people really understand the different kind of shape you have to be in. It's more endurance, you're just kind of going up and down. But football, you're going 1,000% for however long that play lasts or however long that route is. And you just have to go. And it takes a totally different, wear and tear on your body, as far as just, my hamstrings every day at practice would feel like they were about to pop, things like that. And, I did the same thing in basketball. I just kind of bought into my role. I thought that I might be using the offense a little bit more than, just as a run blocker. That's what I was led to believe. And, I ended up just being, kind of an extra lineman. But to be honest with you, I loved being with those linemen every day. They were, my favorite guys to be with on the team, because I was around them all the time. We would just crack jokes and have fun, but like we knew how to turn it on at the same time whenever we needed to. And my offensive line coach, Kenny Jenkins, love that guy to death. He's one of my favorite coaches that I've ever had. He really knew how to just balance, being a coach, but also, being your friend at the same time, which is one reason why, I really like playing under him. And we had a good time every day at practice. We got to work. We did our work when we had to. And, man, I'm so glad I did it. A bunch of people told me that, I need to play football all through middle school. And I finally just broke down. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it because I don't want to graduate high school and, look back at this and think, I never did it and regret it. So decided to give it a shot. I loved it. I ended up getting some college looks. And I could have went and played at, XYZ, so many different places, but it just ended up not really being something that, I thought that I would love to do in college. I enjoyed it so much at Ashland that I just didn't really want to, go somewhere and it not be the same, and it just kind of ruined football for me. So I was okay with, kind of finishing that chapter of my life, so to speak, and moving on to the next. So I'm happy and I'm thankful that, God blessed me with the opportunity to be able to play that sport and be able to, do the things I did and accomplish the things I did on the gridiron. And that's really it. I'm thankful. I love playing it, and honestly, there's no better feeling than hearing a Putnam Stadium crowd get super loud on a Friday night.
Yes, and Nate, what would be your favorite memory at Putnam, or really in those 2 years he played football?
Well, I mean, one for sure would be, when I scored my first and only touchdown against Harrison County this year, because that was something truly special. I mean, me and Asher actually were the last two touchdowns on the Putnam Stadium grass. So, I mean, looking back at it, that's something super special. I mean, that grass has been there for years, and a lot of people argued that, we shouldn't get rid of it. But, we're moving with the times. We're getting turf. But, looking back at it, I mean, that's the last game. That's a really historic, high school football stadium and a really historic field. A lot of huge games and a lot of, big moments have happened on that field. And to be one of the last touchdowns that have ever been scored on that field is something that's really, 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 truly special to me. And I really don't know if there's any moment that can kind of replace that for me.
Yes, and Asher, what did that mean to you to see Nate score in that game, and for you also to get a good score against Harrison County?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I just love seeing my guys succeed. Nate, on any other team in the area, he would have been one of the primary targets on the team, but we were blessed to have multiple talented skill players to spread the ball around, and Nate finally got his fair share of being able to say that, hey, I've scored a touchdown in Putnam Stadium, and that was just awesome to see. I know how hard he works, and I know all he puts into that team, and everything else that he does. So it was really just incredible to finally see that happen, and know that we were the last two touchdowns on that field. So it's definitely a blessing, and it was great to see Nate finally accomplish that goal of his.
You started out your junior year. You went in early in the year against George Washington, and something happened there, didn't it?
Looking back, and I'm still so. I played football growing up in JFL in middle school, and I was a quarterback and a running back. So I had never played receiver. Well, okay, I take that back. I might have played a few downs receiver in middle school, But I don't know. I was never a receiver. Anyways, after catching my older brother, who's a quarterback at Fairmont State now, after catching passes from him for so long and, all that stuff and, like I said, basketball situations, all those things happened to me finally being like, all right, I guess I'm going to give football a try. And I really had no clue what I was doing. I went up to my workouts with my buddies, and I would try and run routes, and I'm sure they were horrible to watch. I would not want to go back and rewatch any of those routes that I ran. And but after a while, Coach Greg, he's an awesome coach. He helped me learn about about football in that specific position, and how to run routes and just improve my game all around. So I think that George Washington game was the third game of the season, and I really, all I knew was that, I'm going to run this route and try and catch the football and then, do whatever else I can with it, which wasn't much at that time. But, yeah, they kind of just kept leaving me open. And quarterback with Brian Strader kept throwing it to me, and we kept moving the ball down the field. But, honestly, it was just I kind of wish I had that situation happen to me again where I'm a little more knowledgeable about, what to do after the catch. But I'm definitely blessed that I was able to have those many receptions and break the school record with 15 receptions in that game. So definitely just another blessing that God's given me. I probably would have never done if things didn't work out previously how they went. So definitely blessed that I was able to do that. So.
Yeah, because for you it looked like, I thought for sure, seeing you play basketball early in your career, I thought for sure you'd end up playing college basketball somewhere.
Yeah.
And when you first started football, did you have in mind thinking, gosh, I feel like I'm going to try to get a scholarship here, or were you more thinking, well, I'm going more for basketball, this is just something I'm doing for fun?
So, honestly, really, anyway, my goal growing up as a kid, my goal was I'm going to try and earn an athletic scholarship to college. That's going to be my goal no matter what happens, no matter what sport I play, if it's golf, if it's swimming, no matter what, I'm going to do my best to try and end up with a scholarship. So I kind of went into that knowing that, hey, I've got good numbers, I've got a good weight, I've got a good height for, wide receiver. If I keep working, there's a chance that this might end up being my sport, and, I'll try and get a scholarship here. So, I had the idea. I had no clue if I was going to do it or not. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how basketball was going to pan out. I didn't know really anything. I was just kind of jumping into that. Basketball was my love. You know what I'm saying? So I really wasn't sure on how anything would pan out, but, I just made it a goal of mine, and the more I kept working, the more evident it became to me that, hey, I think basketball or football might be my better route when it comes to going to college and playing that sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for you, Nate, what are your future plans going to be?
So I'm actually enrolling at Marshall, and when I go there, I'm planning to major in business with a focus in project management. I think they just call it management, but something along those lines. I just my dad's a project manager for a contracting company. So I've got kind of somebody to help me in that field in terms of maybe giving me some tips and helping me out along the way. I got some good friends that go to Marshall, so I'm not going to be lonely up there. I'm going to have some people to talk to. I'm probably going to end up rooming with hopefully former basketball player Tristan Davis. So that'll be a good time. Yeah, that'll be a good time. And hopefully I can just adjust to the college life. I'm excited for it. It's going to be different, but I think change is a good thing, and I'm just excited to kind of move on into that next part of my life.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I can say probably. Some of my best years were at Marshall, so I'm very excited for you there. And yeah, and after you're gonna continue your athletic career at center. Talk about that and what led to the decision.
Yeah, so after my junior year, I had come to the conclusion that it would probably be best if I feel like I have a much higher ceiling in football than basketball. So kind of after my junior year, me and my dad and the rest of my family, my brother got together and said, how can we make this possible? And so we started sending my film out to a ton of different schools. Twitter was a really big help for me for that. Just trying to follow every football coach that I could find. Eventually ended up getting some feedback, after my junior year that spring. Center was actually one of the first schools to start recruiting me. Their coach came to our school and talked to me and Nate, actually. I was able to have, multiple schools reach out. And a lot of visits, a lot of gas money from my parents that I probably will have to owe them back later on, but and my brother, now that I think about it too. So, but yeah, I'm very thankful for that. The support system for trying to make my dreams become a reality, and just over time, with a lot of prayer, it definitely was not easy. I had some nights where I would stay up, I don't know, till 4 a.m. just thinking about the future and what I would do. But, the more I prayed, the more I thought about it, the more I talked about it with my family, I felt like God was had it in mind for me to go to Center College. So I ended up making that commitment.
Pertaining to Ryan Bonner, what may be a funny story that stands out with your program?
I don't know. Asher, do you got one?
I would say what I'm trying to think of. There's countless funny stories, but I would say something that I like most about Coach Bonner is his personality is just awesome, and it really works with being able to connect with us players. I feel like there's a deep connection and trust with him because he can kind of get some of our jokes. He's not too old yet. Get some of our jokes, and we'll joke around. We'll play music in the locker room, in the weight room, and on the floor during practice. And he'll know some of the, well, at least say he knows some of the songs. But I would just say that that's something that I really love about Coach. Besides the fact that he's just the hardest worker as all of us, probably harder. Now that I think about it, he probably is a harder worker. Because he has to be. His family and all that, but. I just know that he really cares about us and this team and the success of this team. And I know that he's going to do whatever he can to help us win and be successful. Sorry about that. Probably my favorite story, there's so many favorite stories. There's a specific song that comes on.
Huh.
So there's a specific song, that comes on, and it's pretty funny. And, we were all like, Coach Bonner, this is your song. And, he's bopping his head around, singing the lyrics, and, it's funny. So, I just think, like, just stuff like that. He really builds a connection with his players, and that's something that I just love about him. He's not just picking one or two out. Every one of them, he has meetings with them. And he shows deep consideration for how they feel and their thoughts on how to help the team. So that's what I have to say.
Talking a little bit about one other person, of course, that we can't not mention in this interview, and that is Luke Mays. How about him?
I mean, to me personally, I believe that the whole center core of our team is Luke. And I think that, to meet Luke and to be around him is 100% life-changing. I mean, it was life-changing for me. I still remember the first time I ever met Luke. It was my freshman year. I went into the locker room and I sat down at my locker, and Luke just came over to me and just stood in front of me and was talking to me. and then he just sits down on my lap and starts hugging me and just squeezing, like, the crap out of my neck. And, I think it's just it's a testament to Luke and how, Luke, he doesn't know a stranger. He loves you no matter what you look like, no matter where you came from. It doesn't matter. He sees a person, and he's gonna love you, and he's gonna be himself around you no matter what. That's for sure. And I think it's funny. I went through that experience of, like, I was around him, and I didn't know how to act, whatnot. And then you see the older guys, and they treat him just like he's any single one of us, because that's how you should treat everybody the exact same. And I think it's it's funny now seeing younger guys come in and kind of getting their fill of Luke, and just seeing like how they need to act around him, and how we treat him like he's anybody else. And I love him to death. I mean, he's great. And just having somebody like that in your life, and having a friend like that in your life, it's 100% life changing. And I couldn't thank him enough, and I couldn't thank Paige and that whole family enough for everything they've done for us, and how welcoming they are to us. I mean, Paige has told me countless times, he's like, man, he's like, you just text me, he was like, and you come right on over. He was like, and you can hang out all day for all I care. He was like, it don't matter. And I've given him my number. Luke and I have talked on the phone many a times. He's called me. We've talked for 15, 20 minutes. It is how it is, and I think it's really good for people to just be around him and just to soak up every single second with him, because he truly is a life-changing person to know.
Yeah, nicely said. And after a little bit different in this interview, closing out, we'll start with you. What do you want as an Ashland Tomcat, and as a person, when people look back and they think of you, what do you want your legacy to be?
That's a great question. There's so many things that, that I want to leave behind, but really just something that, I hope people remember from me is just how much I gave to the program, how much heart that I, put into my work ethic, waking up in the mornings to go shoot at 6 a.m., sleeping in the locker room before school, just trying to play every game like it was my last, honestly. I tried to come into every game with a mindset that, we were going to win, and it was the regional championship. And, I'm doing whatever I can for my team to win. And, me and Coach Bonner have had our meetings, and, that's something I tell him to just reassure him that, hey, I want you to know that I'm not in this for just myself. I'm not playing for my name on my back. I'm playing for the name on the front of my chest. So, that's really something that I want to leave behind, and that I want younger players to see, and to do that whenever they get their chance at playing in Anderson Gymnasium. So yeah, probably just my hard work, dedication, and I doing whatever you can to help your team win. I'd say that was me. I wasn't the most flashiest. I wasn't the most athletic. I wasn't going to give you 20 points every night, but I'll give you three loose balls, me diving on the floor, a charge here and there, and a few offensive rebounds and kick out threes. For my teammates, so to put us in a better position to win. So that's probably what I would say that I want Ashland to remember me of.
Yeah, and what about you, Nate?
I agree. I think that is a great question. It's one I haven't thought about a whole lot, but for me, I think, kind of going off what Asher said, I want, people to look back and, just think of me as, a guy who gave it his all every time he went on the floor. I really prided myself on just, buying into my role, I knew there would be nights where I wouldn't score. There would be nights where I might score, 15, 16. It was what it was. And I tried to be, a really good teammate. Coming in as a freshman, being under guys like, Justin Bradley, Ethan Sellers, Ethan Hudson, Nolan Phillips, guys like that. It definitely taught me that, as a senior and as an older guy, like now, that you need to be welcoming to those younger guys, because when they walk into that locker room for the first time, they're kind of nervous. They're thinking, is this going to be like how it's portrayed in, movies and TV, the senior's just going to beat up on us and whatnot. And, in some cases, that are true. They're a little bit harder on you because, you kind of need it. But at the same time, they were very welcoming and, they treated us just like anybody else. And I felt like that's what I always tried to do, freshman, sophomore, I didn't care what grade you were in. I treated you just the same as I would a guy that started on the team with me. I felt like I always did my all, always did whatever I could. And I felt like I always really, really, really cared for the betterment of the team, not myself. My junior year, I didn't start. I came off the bench, which, a lot of people would be upset with. I was upset with it at the time, but, like Asher said, I also had those meetings with Coach Bonner where I was just like, what can I do to be, invaluable to this team and do whatever I can do. And he told me, he was like, you keep doing what you're doing. He was like, even if you don't have a starting spot, he said, somebody's going to come off the bench and somebody's got to do what you do. So I just bought into that role. I did what I did, and, we had great success, and I'm super thankful for it. So, just overall, I just hope that Tomcat Nation looks back at me as a guy who gave it his all, a guy who's a great teammate, always smiling, and, somebody who just cared about Ashland basketball.
Normally I ask for the last question, are there any shout-outs you'd like to give? And you certainly can do so, but is there a message that you would like to leave for Tomcat Nation?
Yeah, my message for Tomcat Nation would be, I just want to thank everybody who had any support in me, any person, whoever clapped whenever I got a rebound or a point, or just checking into a game, or after I checked out of a game. I'm just so thankful. I'm a Tomcat guy through and through. I bleed maroon. And, I'm just so thankful for just the community behind me throughout, whether it's basketball or football. Very blessed to have such a great group of people behind me and supporting this awesome program. And just thank you all. And I hope that you will do the same to these guys coming up behind me.
Nicely said. And Nate?
Yeah, I'll steal a little bit of what Asher said. I just thank you to all of Tomcat Nation for, always having our backs. I know it wasn't pretty at times. There were some games that, we probably played kind of ugly in, but, that was just the team that we were this year. Especially, we definitely won and lost some ugly games. But I can't thank everybody enough who, supported us and did, even the coaches that, coached us, and all the fans who came to every game, every home game, and even some of the away games that might have been, a ridiculous amount of miles away. I couldn't imagine playing for any other high school. And I don't think I would have had as much fun in this amount of time here as I would have anywhere else. And I really am just so grateful that I got to play for such a great place. And I hope that Tomcat Nation just, keeps supporting this team and, gets excited for the next coming years, because we have a really great group of kids that are coming up through our middle school programs and in our, our earlier high school, like our freshmen and our sophomores. And, we're gonna be really good for years to come, and hopefully we can just keep winning region championship on region championship. So, just thank you to all of Tomcat Nation for everything that you guys have done and all the support.
Asher, Nate, first off, I want to say thank you for everything you've done. And I think that, no doubt about it, you guys have made a tremendous impact. 5-time regional champions. And it's amazing thinking what these guys had to endure when you look at it. I mean, the COVID era, they had to endure that. They had an unexpected coaching change that happened. These guys have been through a lot. So they have come through and aren't just going to succeed on the court or on the football field. They're going to succeed in life. And we want to say thank you for tuning in to this first episode of the Player Spotlight podcast version. And we look forward to many more of these. But we want to say thank you, God bless you, and we will see you soon.